Last one. 5 minutes. Maybe I should tell you a story. Yeah. Texas driver's license story. Okay, so I told you the continuation, so I was supposed to tell you the original story. So the Texas driver's license story happened in 1986. So a long time ago, right? Before all of you were born, for sure. Maybe a few exceptions. Maybe a few exceptions. Only a few. So I went to this conference at a university called Pan American University. It's in a place called Edinburgh, Texas. It's about, I remember, about 1 hour from Mexico. Right? This is a long time ago, so of course, you go over there and use your grant, and you go over there and attend this conference of differential equations using my area. So, I'm going with a friend of mine. We traveled in the same plane. He's from Alberta. We met in Toronto. We took this flight down. We took a bunch of flights over to this little place. We stopped at the airport, which is a little nondescript airport. And at the airport, I want to rent a car. Right? So I get to the airport, and I want to rent the car, and the lady says, "Can I see your driver's license?" So I pull in my driver's license, and she looks at it. This is in the days when the driver's license didn't have any pictures on it. No pictures. You have to show your passport, you know, ID, all that stuff, without pictures of the driver's license. So I pull my driver's license, and she says, "Sir, this license is expired." What do you mean it's expired? I've been driving with it for 2 years. You tell me it's expired? And I look at it, she was right. 2 years I'm driving without a valid license. And I'm thinking, how can this be? And I'm thinking to myself, where's my real license? And then I remember I was stopped with a 417 by an OPP officer 2 years before. The only speeding ticket I ever got. He never gave me back my permit. Maybe I wasn't supposed to drive, I thought. Maybe I wasn't supposed to drive at all. This is why I kept my permit, right? Yeah, all this stuff goes in my head. And Lynn next to me says, "Look, Angelo, if you really have to drive, you know, I'll rent the car. And we can do that." I said, "No, Lynn, this is a better idea. I'm going to get a driving permit here because I don't have a driver's license at all now. What am I going to do when I get back home? And my car's in the parking lot of the airport. And now that I know I don't have a valid driver's license, I'm screwed, right?" He says, "No, Angelo, you can't do that. This is Texas." I said, "No, nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible." So I said, "Lynn, you rent the car. I promise you that at lunch hour, I will come back with a driver's license from Texas." He says, "No, that's not possible. We're going to bet on this." I said, "Okay, fine, you bet." So he goes back, we go to the conference, he starts putting bets. Everybody's putting bets. That is not going to be possible, right? So of course, I bet that $100 those days it was a lot of money, right? Like a few thousand. $100 that I was going to do it. So everybody, of course, is going to cost me a fortune if I lose, right? So anyways, so they're betting like this, and I go, so I see, I remember, oh yeah. So I take the car, which is a Ford Tempo. I think it was called a Ford Tempo, little gizmo car, it's a brown car, right? And I drive it over to the police station. Because I don't know where to go. I go to the local police station. And then you ask, right? So I go to the local police station. There's one officer with this big hat, sunglasses, it's noontime, right? And it's like 95 degrees Fahrenheit. It's really hot. He's got his guns, you know, and all this stuff. This is Texas, remember? And then you land in Dallas Airport, and there's this big bronze statue, if you're landed there, of a gunslinger ready to. This is in the middle of the airport. It's like this. Right? This is Texas. Anything can happen in Texas. So I get there, and this officer looks at me, "How can I help you, son?" I said, "Well, I need a driving permit." He says, "You look kind of hot. Where are you coming from?" I said, "Well, I'm from Canada, but we got this conference." He says, "You have proof?" So I said, "No, I don't have proof. I just drove here." He said, "You got a driver's license? But you drove here." I said, "Oh, yeah, I did." He says, "Okay." And then he says, "So you want a driver's license from Texas? But where's your Ontario driving permit?" Because we're done this discussion. I said, "Well, for some reason, it's expired. And we rented this car, and I need this driver's license when I get back home." So he goes behind the counter, and he pulls out this box. Boom. Sticks this box on the table, opens it up, pulls out inks, papers, takes my digital fingerprints, all 10 fingers. And then he says to me, "Now, why do you want a driver's license?" Then he asks me, I said, "Because I want to go to Mexico with my friends." And then he stopped and he said, wait a minute. He says, "Now, why would some professor from Ontario, Canada, want to come to Edinburgh, Texas, to get a driver's license to go to Mexico. This is exactly what he said. I said, wow, that's true. So then he starts filling out this report. Mingarelli, your passport, all sorts of stuff, right? Who knows what happened to this information? It's probably in some database, you know, in the US right now. So anyways, after this happened, about half an hour of this stuff, right? Discussions back and forth. He pulls out this piece of paper, legal size, and he says, okay, do this. So this is the multiple choice exam, right? Like you guys write, for a driving permit. So I start filling it out. He says, aren't you gonna need this booklet? I said, yeah, okay. So this is the Texas laws, right? I said, it looks like Ontario. Let's assume it's Ontario, right? Because I don't have time for this. I got another hour and a half. And I gotta come back for a driving permit. So I fill in these things, and I hand it in after about 5 minutes. He says, are you sure? I said, yeah, I'm sure. So he corrects it, X. X. Oh, 2 X's, this is bad. You know, this is Texas, anything can happen. 3 X's, 85%. I said, do I have enough? Yeah, you're enough. So now I go to the driving test. He says, just hold on, son, I have to eat something first. It's noontime. So I'm thinking, I can't say anything, right? Because this guy, who knows how long he's going to take. So as he's eating, I'm waiting. And he finishes and he comes back. It's now 1:15 or something like that. And I have to be back by 2. So then he goes outside and he says, okay, let's use that vehicle that you came in with. Now, I'm thinking he's going to find me like crazy. You know, that's what I'm thinking. He's going to find me at some point. So no, I go into the car and I just take off. He goes, bad idea. I'm nervous, right? I want to get my license. So I come to the first stop. He's just going, basically he's going to go around the block. There's 4 stop signs, right? He knows I can drive, obviously, because I drove there. So I go to the first stop sign, and I stop too fast, and his head moves forward. He puts another X. What do I do now? I'm going to fail my driver's test, and I've been driving for 30 years. This is crazy, right? So turn right, the right turns, I remember, we have right turn signal, right? You just get to a right like in Quebec, right? It's not the same. Quebec, you can do anything and you get away with it, but this is Texas. So you turn right, come up to the next sign. Of course, this time I start slowing down long before the stop sign. He says, you're driving too slow. Another X. So I go, one more. I go, one more chance, right? And I got down to 85 again. And I come to the next stop, and it's perfect, right? I slow down and I look around, you know, check everything, turn around, and then pull up to the driveway. At the police station, which I actually found on the web, but it's been changed now, so somewhat. I drive in, and he says, okay, now come on out, follow me in. So I follow him in. I'm thinking he was putting me in jail, right? Because I drove without a license and did all this stuff. It's now 1:45. And he says, okay, I'm going to issue a temporary driving permit, and you can use this. The original one will be sent in the mail. So I thought, that's not possible. You really mean it? He says, yeah, yes, son. That's your requirements for a driver's test in Texas. 5-year permit, right? Which is how, remember the last story I told you when I pulled up my Texas driver's license? Right? It was after, so he writes this long piece of paper, and it took about 10 minutes. I had to fill it out, sign it, and all this stuff. And then he hands me this piece of paper. And then he says, and then I say to him, can I go to the airport with this? And it's like a driver's license. He says, yes, son, this is like a driver's license. So I go back to the department, and these guys are all waiting for me before the talk starts at 2. And I go, yeah. And they go, what do you mean? I said, look, this is a Texas driver's license, temporary. They all came around me to see. Sure enough, a lot of money.